When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light you'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. If the sky we look upon should crumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. If the sky we look upon should crumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Job. I invite you to listen to the words of Dr. Alan Wolfelt. Love and grief are the two sides of the same precious coin. One does not and cannot exist without the other. They are the yin and yang of our lives. What higher purpose is there in life but to give and receive love? Love is the essence of a life of abundance and joy. No matter what life brings our way, it is our highest goal, our most passionate quest. People sometimes say that grief is the price you pay for the joy of having loved. If we allow ourselves the grace that comes with love, we must allow ourselves the grace that is required to mourn. I invite Debbie Jones to offer us her message in this part of the service that we call the time for all ages. It's a time to remind us that we are all lifelong learners.
Good morning. I'm new at this, and so I just wanted to apologize in advance if I fumble or bumble over any of the words or if I mispronounce them. So if you hear anything like that, just keep on scrolling and know that I'm doing the best I can. Hey, there's a whole bunch of people over here too. All right. Have you ever heard a story so old that people say it's written on the soul of the world? Well, the story of Rama and Sita is one of those stories. It comes from India, and it's a story that's been told for thousands of years, especially during Diwali, the Festival of Lights, which just so happens begins tomorrow. Diwali is celebrated by Hindus, Jains, Sikhs, and even some Buddhists. Each faith tradition tells its own story to mark the holiday, but all share a common theme: the triumph of light over darkness, good over evil, and hope over despair. The story we're hearing today comes from the Hindu tradition, where Diwali is their most important religious festival of the year, a time of joy, family, and new beginnings. The story is called Rama and the Demon King, and it's part of the Ramayana, an epic tale that rivals the most awesome of all epic tales. Long ago, in a bright and beautiful kingdom called Ayodhya, there lived a prince named Rama. He was brave, kind, and deeply loved by his people. His wife, Sita, was wise and strong, and together they were a symbol of goodness and love. But one day, jealousy and fear entered the palace. Because of a promise made long ago, Rama was sent away from his home, banished to live in a forest for 14 years. Sita chose to go with him, saying, "Where you go, I go." And Rama's loyal brother, Lakshmana, also joined them. And so the three lived simply among the trees and animals, far from their royal home, for many years. But even in the safety of the forest, danger found them. A powerful demon king named Ravana, who ruled an island called Lanka, heard about Sita's beauty and goodness. His heart filled with greed and envy, and he decided to steal her away. Disguising himself, he tricked the trio and carried Sita off in his flying chariot. When Rama discovered she was gone, his heart broke. But he did not give up. With his brother Lakshmana and a brave monkey warrior named Hanuman, Rama searched far and wide. Hanuman leapt across the ocean to find Sita and brought her a ring from Rama, a token, a promise that he would come for her. So Rama gathered an army of animals and human friends, and together they built a bridge across the sea and marched to Lanka. There was a great battle between Rama and Ravana, a battle of light against darkness, love against hate. And in the end, Rama's courage and goodness triumphed. The demon king Ravana was defeated, and Sita was free. But, and there's always a but, after all that, some folks doubted her virtuousness, and so she had to walk through fire to prove herself. She did it, completely unharmed, which just goes to show, never doubt a woman who's been through enough already. When Rama and Sita returned home to Ayodhya, the people were overjoyed to welcome them back after 14 long years. They lit rows of oil lamps in every window, along every street, shining out into the moonless night. The whole city sparkled with light, joy, and hope. And that night became the first Diwali, a celebration of the victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and love over fear. And every year since, millions of people around the world light lamps and candles, which we call diyas, to remember that no matter how long the darkness lasts, light will always return, just like the beloved couple, Rama and Sita. So, to those who celebrate, Happy Diwali.
As we light this chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, let us learn to hold both love and grief with tenderness and strength. Each Sunday, a member of our congregation lights our chalice as we hear the words that remind us of the importance of this light we ignite. Stacy Azamos lit our chalice and listened to the words of Dr. Alan Wolfelt. The keys to love also unlock healing in grief. Just as you opened your heart to love, you must open your heart to mourn. May this light be a reminder of love and its infinite ability to keep us open and engaged with one another in all ways. I invite you to please rise in body and spirit and join our song leaders to sing our opening hymn, number 346, Come Sing a Song With Me, in our gray hymnal. My name is Jackie Hoxton, and I'm a new member to BBUUC and to the worship team. I'm delighted to be your worship leader this morning. Good morning and welcome. We're so happy that you've joined us this morning. Whether this is your first time or your 51st time, we welcome you. Whoever you are, whoever you love, however you identify, regardless of your age, gender, race, sexual orientation, ability, education, or financial level, you are welcome here. Our spiritual theme for this month of October has been cultivating compassion. The elements of our services this month have had us examine cultivating compassion and ways that we can bring compassion to both ourselves and others as an integral part of our ongoing spiritual growth. We come to Unitarian Universalism from many faith traditions and from no tradition at all. The free and responsible search for truth and meaning, as well as the respect for the interdependent web of all existence, are some of the ways we are united in our Unitarian Universalist faith. Love is the center of our values, and it is here where we find shared humanity and support for our individual journeys. I invite you to visit the welcome table at the entrance of our church and find some information about our church and our denomination. Receive a name tag so we can start to get to know you. After the service, there will be refreshments served at the windows in the back where you can find opportunities to socialize. There are also reserved chairs at the back of the rows to provide seating for those requiring support around mobility issues. Our hope is that you find a safe, welcoming, and loving community here, and that you can imagine yourselves being a part of us. I will ask you now to ensure that your phones and electronic devices are turned off, as we will now enter into our sacred time together. Welcome. Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal faith. We are not bound by creed, dogma, or doctrine. Members of this congregation, as we refer to as BBUUC, came together to develop our own commitment to each other and to lay the groundwork for how we will be in relationship with one another. We bring this covenant into our worship space every Sunday as a reminder of our intentions. Please remain seated and join in reciting our congregational covenant, printed in your order of service as well as seen on the screen. We covenant to engage one another with honesty, kindness, and respect, to value diversity, seek understanding of our differences, and practice gracious accountability with care, love, and empathy. We make these promises to those who are here and those yet to come, so that we may be a safe, welcoming, and beloved community of acceptance, learning, and transformation. Please rise in body and spirit in singing our call to worship. The words are printed in your order of service and are displayed on the screen as well.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright sunny days and dark sacred nights. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. All the colors of the rainbow, they're so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying that I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Ron Furster and Marilyn Jones will now come forward to assist with the offering. The Offertory is a spiritual practice of generosity, and your gifts will sustain both the church and the work we do in our community that demonstrates our values. We are completely self-supporting, and we are grateful for your ongoing faithfulness to your pledge. We provide you many ways to give: electronic, QR code in the order of service, link on our website, bank drafts, and we still pass the plate. No matter the method you choose to make your contribution, we will do this as an act of community. Please take the plate and pass it to your neighbor or the row behind you and add your good energy to this tradition. We are delighted to welcome back to the pulpit our revered community minister, Reverend Carmen Emerson. Reverend Carmen earned her MDiv from Andover Newton Theological Seminary and a graduate certificate in conflict resolution from Lipscomb University. She has served as a parish minister for 10 years, and her current work is in our community at Baptist Health System, where she is a board-certified chaplain and coordinator of spiritual support services within that system. Reverend Carmen, the pulpit is yours.
You guys are very sweet. Oops. David, am I good now? All right, thank you. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to this sermon series on grief and mourning. As I begin, I want to offer my gratitude to the worship team and Manny, who allowed me to switch Sundays due to a work conflict, so thank you for making that happen. I appreciate your flexibility and adaptability, hallmarks of Unitarian Universalism, and I know our worship team is always nimble and prepared. So today is the second in this series about the 6 needs of mourning. In the introductory sermon, we talked about the first need of mourning, which is acknowledging the death, acknowledging the reality of the death of your loved one, and how that's really the linchpin of mourning because it is the beginning of reconciling our cognitive reality and our affective reality, reconciling what the head knows and how the heart feels about it. Today's reflection is on the second need of mourning, feeling the pain of the loss. Before I continue, I do want to remind us of 2 things. First, this really is not a morbid series. It's just an honest, thoughtful series offered to thoughtful, curious people. I do want to tell you that if talking about grief and mourning activates grief and mourning for you, please know that Donna and the entire pastoral care team is available for support. Reach out to them because that's what we're here for. The second thing I want to tell you is just to remind you that the 6 needs of mourning are not linear, orderly stages. We do not neatly complete one and then progress to the next need and then to the next one. Grieving and mourning are messy and recursive. We'll go there and back, we'll go there and back, we'll keep that moving back and forth for as long as we need to. We do not complete our grief, we evolve around it and are transformed by our grief, especially when we have trusted companions in the journey. And that is part of why we are doing this deep dive together during a UU worship service. Grief is a spiritual journey. We are considering grief as a spiritual journey because we know that each and every one of us at some point in our lives, because this is how life works, we're going to lose someone or something that is precious to us that helps give our life joy and meaning and purpose. So we were reflecting on grief in a sacred space, our sanctuary. We are reflecting on grief during an extraordinary time, the hour a week we come together as a congregation of people who choose to be together, who choose to be in covenant with one another, who choose to worship together. And as you know, worship means to consider matters of worth together. As Dr. Wolfelt reminds us, grief is a normal, necessary part of human life. It is first and foremost a spiritual journey because it forces us to examine our most fundamental beliefs about why we are here and what life means. And I think that's part of being a congregation together, is to consider those deep, deep questions, to risk discernment and discovery together. So as I said earlier, we are not spending time with the needs of mourning as a morbid exercise, but as a thoughtful consideration with and among generous, evolving, loving people of faith whose spiritual practices include a compassionate curiosity about one another's lives. We engage in this practice every Sunday when we set aside time in our worship service to acknowledge the joys and sorrows in our lives. We are interesting people and we are interested in one another. We share our joys and sorrows because we're hoping for connection and understanding especially during those times when we feel vulnerable, we listen respectfully, we pay attention because we understand what it means to be heard, to be celebrated, to be comforted. And comfort is especially important when we are bereaved, which means literally to be torn apart. So when we are grieving, we need the companionship of generous and loving people, meaning people who, by word and deed, help restore us to life evolving, help restore our capacities for hope and gratitude as we reconcile ourselves to the myriad losses in our lives, and not by way of spiritual bypasses intended to rush us through our grief or perfunctory platitudes that may relieve their stress but not our grief. Instead, we do this by active listening, by compassionate presence, by the ability to dwell in discomfort with one another. And we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes. Final reminder, you'll hear this in every sermon in this series because it's important to remember that grief and mourning are two different things. Grief is what's happening on the inside of you. It is private. It's all the stuff happening inside your heart. Mourning is what goes on outside of you as you are grieving. Grief is internal, feeling, thinking, turning inward, remembering and pondering. Mourning is external, talking, acting, doing, creating, and moving. We need safe companionship both for grieving and mourning. We need thoughtful, compassionate companions on this journey. So I introduced last week, or the last sermon, the idea of the rule of thirds, that a third of people who know that you're grieving are going to be neutral. They'll say the thing they think they should say and move on quickly because they can't bear the discomfort of your grief. A third of the people will actually be harmful, will offer those platitudes, those helpful suggestions that are anything but, that actually serve to impede your grieving and your mourning. Because, have you been grieving about something and somebody says, well, it's for the best, right? That's one of those spiritual bypasses. And in your head, you may want to go, shut up. It's not for the best. How on earth could this be for the best? So that's one of those harmful things that people say that actually impede the work of grieving and mourning that you need to do. 1/3 of the people will be helpful companions in your grief. And I want to talk about what it means to be a helpful companion as we accompany someone we care about on their journey of grief and mourning. So I'm going to review some tenets of good companioning, and I just ask you to notice if any of those resonate with you, either as somebody who has received that kind of care during a time of grief and mourning in your life, or if you recognize yourself as someone who has kindly offered that kind of compassionate companioning to someone. So compassionate companioning includes being present to another person's pain, not trying to fix it or take it away. It's about letting them lead you to the wilderness of the soul, not believing that you are responsible for finding the way out. It's about honoring the spirit rather than focusing on the intellect, listening with the heart, not analyzing with the head. And oh boy, we love to analyze. We love to analyze with the head. It's about bearing witness to the struggle, not judging or directing the struggle. Those are the shoulds that we talked about last time. Don't should on anybody, and don't let anybody should on you. It's been 6 months. You should be beyond this point by now. No. Compassionate companion includes walking alongside, not leading or being led. It's about discovering the gifts of sacred silence without compulsion to fill the space with words, again, including those shoulds. It's about being still, not frantically forcing forward movement. It is about respecting disorder and confusion, not imposing your kind of order and logic upon the grieving person. It's about learning from others not teaching them. Every single person here, you are the expert in your own grief. It's about practicing compassionate curiosity, not being the expert. So did any of you recognize in these tenets someone who has been a compassionate companion to you? So just take a little moment and just say a silent thank you to them. And if you've been able to do that for another person, know that they are so grateful to have had you as part of their journey. So the second need of mourning that we're talking about is feeling the pain of loss. When we lose someone or something we love, there is, of course, the immediate loss of that person, that creature, that thing, the loss of their immediate presence in our lives. So not only are we grieving them, but then, there are myriad losses that begin to ripple from that ground zero loss. And you may not even know what those are until you bump up against them. So there are myriad losses associated with that ground zero loss that we have to navigate in our journey of grief. And we know that the pain of that, feeling the pain of the loss of our grief, it's a holistic grief. It will impact every part of our lives. So listen to see if you recognize, if you've ever been a grieving person, do you recognize some of these things? Our bodies respond to grief. There will be a physical response. That includes physical discomfort, so your body is responding to the stress of this encounter. You may have insomnia or excessive sleeping. You might have exhaustion, fatigue, or restlessness, excessive energy, like you're going to be able to outrun or outwork your grief. You'll have changes in appetite. You might cry uncontrollably and unexpectedly. Your physical pains are exacerbated. You may experience new physical pains, sometimes even mimicking those of the person you loved who died. So remember to check in with your physician about those things. And as a companion, you can invite people for a walk or a coffee, or really just offering to sit quietly with them as they sleep. Because they're going to feel so vulnerable and exposed, and just knowing somebody's there keeping watch so that you can have a good rest. These are ways that you could be a good companion to people whose grief is really manifesting as physical. Your emotions have a story of loss to tell. There are going to be ongoing waves of emotion that include profound sorrow and despair. Your person, your beloved creature is gone, but the love remains. So what do I do with this now? That is a despairing moment. There'll be resentment and anger, even rage at times, at the medical team, at the perceived cause of the loss, at family, at friends, at God. How could you? Why would you? And you could even be mad at the person who left you for leaving you. And then that's going to trigger some guilt. You will also have survivor's guilt. You will have guilt because you are relieved that your loved one is no longer suffering. So all of these things are happening in our human heart at the same time. You're going to feel relief, especially after a long illness such as dementia. There's going to be fear and confusion because you're like, who am I now? How do I move through the world? You're going to be frustrated because some of all of these symptoms of grief are going to impact your day-to-day living. So seek support from a therapist or a spiritual counselor. Spend time with trusted companions who are going to listen to you without judgment, without answers. People who are not discomforted by the range and intensity of emotions you will need to work through as long as you need to work through them. Cognitively, we are impacted as well because your mind needs time to catch up with this new reality. You're going to feel foggy. You're going to feel forgetful. You are going to feel lost. You're going to feel unable to make even simple decisions. You're suddenly faced with lots of extra decisions to make, and every one of them is going to seem like one too many. So in this time, go easy on yourself. Don't get self-judgmental about losing control. It was an illusion to begin with, and it doesn't help to be so hard on yourself. As a companion to someone grieving, what we can do is kindly, gently, repeatedly remind them to let go of the belief that they have any control over the grieving process as they live in their paradox of surrendering to their grief and encountering their grief. Again, this movement is called dosing, and it's a healthy way of managing. We move toward it, we move away from it as we can bear it. And everybody does this in a different way that they can bear. Socially, bereavement naturally results in social discomforts because people will distance themselves from you or withdraw because they don't know how to deal with your discomfort. So they begin to withdraw. Other people with the best of intentions will impose themselves upon you, and you may actually need a break with them, and it's okay to say, not this week, or I need a rest. Can you call me in 2 weeks? You ask for what you need. Your honesty about the support you need is essential, including your need for solitude, and those of us who love you are going to make sure that that doesn't slip into self-isolation. So there'll be a balance that we're working on the whole time. Spiritually, your natural tendency is going to be to search for meaning, especially around the unanswered, unanswerable questions. Why did this happen? Why did this have to happen right now? Why go on living? Will my life ever have meaning again? And a question I hear a lot as a chaplain is, where is God in all of this pain? Where is God in all of this pain? So before I continue, I just want to pause and check in with you. Are any of these physical, emotional, cognitive, social, and spiritual responses to the feeling the pain of our loss, are any of these familiar to you? I see lots of nodding heads. I hope that what this review does is let you know, oh, that was just a normal part of grieving. As a UU minister, I want to acknowledge in particular the spiritual pain inherent in our losses and some of the most common spiritual bypasses and perfunctory platitudes that I hear as a chaplain. Things happen for a reason. This is just my new normal. And time heals all wounds. So as Unitarian Universalists, I wonder if we might be less tempted to offer these spiritual bypasses because of our shared values of generosity and transformation and love. Generosity is people of faith who cultivate a spirit of hope and gratitude and the compassionate sharing of faith and wisdom and resources. The value of transformation is people of faith who adapt to an ever-changing world, personally and collectively, and our love for one another, that love called agape, is the foundational principle of our faith. As we continue to consider the spiritual pains of loss, I want to offer you some alternatives to things happen for a reason, and this is just my new normal, and time heals all wounds. So the alternative I want to offer you is things happen for a meaning instead of things happen for a reason. Might our compassionate curiosity as people who are grieving, as companions to people who are grieving, instead of saying things happen for a reason, could we think and say things happen for a meaning? So please hear me and hear me good. I am not suggesting that things happen, that losses happen, because there is some meaning we are supposed to glean from our losses. I am not a cause and effect theologian. I don't believe that. I am not advocating for that, because that's really just a variable on things happen for a reason. Rather, what I am saying is things happen, losses happen, and meaning will continue to emerge and evolve from our memories, our insights, and our empirical knowledge about life and love because of our experiences with that person we loved. And all of that can and will continue to inform our relationships, continuing and new, with ourselves and with others. Things happen for meaning. As we work through our grief, as we mourn with trusted companions, as our hearts and minds grow around our grief, each day we reconcile ourselves not to our new normal, but to our now normal. To say that something is my new normal is to suggest that the old normal is still a possibility to which I might return. For example, I don't really like my new bread recipe as much as I like the old recipe. I think I'm going to go back to the old recipe. Or, I don't really like this new peanut butter. I'm going to find and hoard all the jars of the old formula that I possibly can. So with regard to grieving and mourning, our culture has adopted the phrase new normal as one of those spiritual bypasses or perfunctory platitudes intended to alleviate any of the social and emotional discomfort to help us move quickly towards some arbitrary measure of successful grieving. But successful according to whose standards? You are the expert on your own grief and mourning. Yours are the only standards that matter. In our hearts, most of us would prefer to have our loved ones with us always, happy and healthy, not suffering. In our minds, we know that is not how life works. Yet our hearts cannot help but yearn for them. So when they are gone and we cannot return to life with them, we begin to live life without them now. This is my now normal. What could it mean in your grieving and mourning process to say, this is my now normal, and to acknowledge that your now normal includes experiencing many of the physical, emotional, cognitive, social, and spiritual pains of our losses? What could that shift from new to now mean to you? How might it change your capacities for grieving and mourning? And how might we, as trusted companions to a grieving person, be supportive by affirming, not by declaring, but by affirming when it is time that yes, their now normal is very different from back then, from what was. Your now normal is different from then, and now is very different from always. Now is very different from always. So things will not always be as hard and as tender as they are right now. Please, though, be wise and thoughtful about this. It's not a truth that can be forced, or else it becomes that time heals all wounds thing that we're going to talk about in just a minute. That things will not always be as hard as they are now, today, is a unique truth to be discovered by the griever. They just need somebody to hang with them, engaging in all those companioning tenets that we talked about without rushing them through it. So our work is just to tend that personal discernment and discovery of our grieving beloveds, to be patient and attentively present with them on their grief and mourning journeys until they get to that place where they have a glimmer of the truth that their now normal is not going to be their always normal. This is about hope. This is about hope, which is essential to living. It's what we do for each other when we cannot do it for ourselves. Stand by me. I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. The last thing is to trust your divine momentum. Dr. Wolfelt likes to say there are no rewards for speed in our journeys through grief, and if you've ever tried it, you know there is no way to rush through our grief or to altogether avoid our grief. Eventually, we must go through our grief and engage with these needs of mourning our losses. That takes time, and the time it takes is different for each of us. So it is not actually time that heals all wounds, it's what you do with the time that heals your wounds. It's what you do with the time. So that's called divine momentum, small d. The small d in divine momentum is powerful because it means that we need not rely on or solely upon a supernatural divinity, capital D, beyond ourselves to move us through our grief. Rather, trusting our divine momentum means that each of us, as needs be, can engage with grief and mourning on our own time with support from our trusted, helpful companions. In our migration from despair to hope, we grieve and mourn at the pace we can with the people we trust. It is good to have each other. As we continue this exploration and come to better understand the needs of grieving and mourning, we can deepen our capacities to be these trusted companions for one another, compassionately and courageously being present to our journeys from despair to hope. May it be so, and may we have the courage to be so. Amen. And if you would rise in body or spirit as we join in singing hymn number 95 together.
Stacy Azimos will return to extinguish the chalice as we reflect once more on the words of both Michelle Collins and Dr. Alan Wolfelt. This flame ends, but the work continues. May our hearts remain open to love and compassion as we grow to learn that love and grief do not and cannot exist without the other. Love is the essence of a life of abundance and joy. No matter what life brings our way, love is our highest goal, our most passionate quest. The capacity to love requires the necessity to mourn. May we find both strength and compassion in both. Amen and blessed be.